Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the simplest sports fantasy game in the market. You can pick from multiple platforms. And get this, sign up using the code ASU and Prize Picks will 100% match your initial offer up to $100. Sign up using the Google Play Store or the App Store. Well, as you can see, we are in person. It is something different. We are in person today, and we're at the Chateau Wine and Cigar Bar at 4090 Johns Creek Parkway in Suwanee, Georgia. So please make sure you stop by, and we appreciate them for allowing us to be here today. But let's get right to it. First game of the season.
We had a lot to talk about.
Falcons didn't pull it out. They lost 27-26 to the divisional rival New Orleans Saints.
But we talked about it. It's the Saints and the Falcons. It's always going to come down to that last second of the game, no matter what the records are. But here was a chance for the Falcons to be on top of the division and do something special, and they let it slip away. And as we were texting back and forth, and when they got down, when the Falcons was up by 8, I said, oh, here it is. It's the Falcons and the Saints. And I just had that feeling in my belly that something was not going to go right for the Falcons. But one thing I can say, when I turned on the TV, Falcons fans, you showed up like I asked you to. You showed up and showed out. That stadium was rocking. There was people everywhere. It was a good look from where I was viewing it from, which was my man cave. So I was in my suite at my home. So it was a good look fan-wise, but I just hate that they left there disappointed with this football team.
Yeah, you were right. From a fan perspective, it was loud. It was what we asked. And then it's funny that you mentioned that about that feeling that you had about the Falcons and Saints, because in the post-game press conference, Arthur Smith, had this kind of bravado, like, this ain't them, this ain't the team. I get that, but people will tell you this is kind of what we always been through, regardless of who the coach is or the players. This is kind of that thing that keeps haunting us, these blown leads in late games.
Well, here's the thing. We hope that this coaching staff did a self-evaluation first before they evaluated the players whatsoever. Because there were some things that they did in this game that is questionable. And they have to question themselves. And this is what I've always said about coaching. Who yells and curses at a coach when he makes a bad play or a bad decision? Who is that guy? Does the head coach has an assistant to the head coach that sits him down and scolds him for letting his foot off the gas when he had a chance to put this team away? Is there a defense assistant coach that gets the defense coordinator and says, why did you stop putting pressure on the quarterback as you did the first 3 quarters? And I was talking to someone, and someone said to me, says, well, do you think it was the reason why we weren't blitzing as much anymore, put pressure on them because they were going fast? Well, you got to understand, after every snap, the quarterback sits there and he's calling out the play, formation whatsoever. So why can't the defense do the same thing at the same time? So I'm not going to take that excuse that they were going fast and they couldn't get lined up, because you're a professional team or you're a professional coach. And we always said this. I've said this for the last 2 weeks. You need championship pedigree roster players and a championship pedigree staff on the sideline for when these situations come up, that you know how to handle it in a championship way. And we didn't do this, and I hope we learned from it.
Yeah, they had some bright spots, and I'm sure we'll get to them. But what do you think was the singular thing that might have? Was it the 4th and 1? Was it the fumble by Mariota? What different things? And I know it's not one thing that can cause the team to lose, because we had a 16-point lead. And like you said, once they got that 2-point, and I was inside, and I told a friend, I was like, I don't like that number, 16. It's a clean, even number. I don't like that. He's like, don't think like that. I'm like, well, it is what it is.
Well, in football, we look at 3 things. Third down, red zone, and turnovers. We had one more first down than they did on third down.
Okay.
But that didn't really, kind of matched out. But in the red zone, they were 3 for 3 in the red zone. We were 2 for 4 in the red zone. And then turnovers, They had one, we had two, and that's the difference in this football game. Now we're going in to score. Mariota trying to look. People can fault him for fumbling that ball, but here's a guy who was trying to win a football game.
Yeah.
And he was trying to win a football game for the first time in years. And as I'm watching this game, as I told you, I said, he keeps getting hit like this, he's not going to finish the season. Now, understand this, when a quarterback keeps getting hit on his shoulders, his arms, his elbows, whatsoever, your hands get a little loose.
Yeah.
And it wears out on you, and you're not holding the ball as strong as you did in the first quarter. So I think a lot of that banging kind of got to him. And then you talk about the fumble snap. We haven't seen Mariota under center the whole game. And when they showed it in slow motion from behind, his hands were so wide. That means he wasn't used to it, or he wasn't ready for the snap. And that cost us there. Should we have went for it on fourth down? I don't. You can question that. You're hoping your defense can step up at that moment and make a stop.
Yeah, you're right. Talking about the snap, it's funny because we talked about the center being named early on in camp, so they could work around and work these things.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that aspect of it, because that aspect of it is really true. Because now you name your starter the week before the game instead of 2 weeks before the game. So that's a week less of snaps that you're getting from that guy that's going to start for you on that day. So it was, it was one of those things that you were disappointed. You weren't really upset. It was the first game. You got a lot of games left. Hopefully we learn from that. Just the thing that's we're going to see is you're getting ready to play a Rams team that opened up on Thursday and was embarrassed.
Yes.
And so they're upset. And McVay and all of them said, we're going to fix this. We're going to be better. So you have to travel to LA against the Super Bowl reigning champions and try to right your ship while they're trying to right theirs. It's going to be a good football game, but we cannot have another fourth quarter like we had Sunday against the Saints.
Yeah, definitely not. I was pleased with how Marcus Mariota played overall. It was a change in the building. You could feel it. You could feel the atmosphere when he broke loose and would make a play with his legs or with his arm. And then to see the other players, Drake London, it was question marks surrounding him.
Right.
He was out there playing hard football. He was not avoiding the contact, and he was even laying hits.
Right.
And then the other guy we taled about, CP.
Oh, yeah, he ran like a grown man.
The second quarter, CP had, it was 9 plays in that first drive. They scored a touchdown. 9 plays. He ran the ball 8 of them. 8 of the 9 plays. The only other play was Marcus Mariota threw to Avery Williams, and he got that little scamper, which was good as well.
I think that was the bright spot. Running game, rushed for over 200 yards in the game whatsoever. Here's the thing. Now that we know Mariota can play action fake, half roll, bootleg, whatsoever, that was part of the passing game on Sunday. Now this week, going in this week, I think I will focus on pocket passing, because when you need to do it, we didn't look really good at doing it. And he didn't look good at doing it, because when you half roll or you bootleg whatsoever, you're only reading half of the field. But when you're behind that center taking a shotgun snap and sitting in that pocket, you got to read everything. So this week I would concentrate more. Well, maybe not, because you got Aaron Donald, that dude. I may want to move him around a little bit. But when there's time to have to sit in the pocket and throw the football, you can tell he was very uncomfortable. But he can fix that with practice.
How pleased were you with the defensive line? We've got 4 sacks, got more than we got all last year. Grady was a monster.
And more pressure on the quarterback than I've seen in the last 2 years. And it was a good sight to see. I thought they did very well. It helped the back end when you get pressure like that, because you see what happens when you don't get pressure, that it becomes 7-on-7.
Yes,
tournament almost. So the play that people are talking about the most is the Hayward Jr. pass, where it went over his head and he caught it in the seam where here it is. 2 things happened on that play. They were playing cover 2 man, where he's supposed to trail the receiver, and the safety is over top.
Okay.
But what the Saints did, they sent 2 guys vertical to that side, which the safety had to stay on number 2.
Okay.
And then no one was on the outside guy because the corner was trailing.
Yeah.
So now, when that happens, now that's the corner's fault also, because there was no threat underneath him in the flats whatsoever. So he should have stayed a little bit closer and a little tighter to that, because shouldn't worry about the pass underneath, because now you're running the clock out. So he let him get too far ahead of him, and he was hoping he had safety help, and it just didn't happen.
I'm glad you brought that up, because people in the stands, and maybe you heard afterward, people are like, why are we in prevent? Why are we in prevent? Why are they playing like this? Because they kept getting burnt over top. I was listening to a call on the way in. Arthur Smith was saying that they gave different coverages on the last 3 drives. He said they didn't do anything similar.
Right.
That they switched it up, but they were still getting beat over the top with those various plays. The one you spoke of, then Landry, and then it was another one to Olave.
Yeah, Olave. And you know, it was, I know that he's from a rival team, but it was good to see Michael Thomas back.
Yeah.
And I hated he came back the way he came back against us. But what it was, you know, A.J. Terrell, Michael Thomas matchup, Michael Thomas got the best of him. But that happens when you get no pass rush. When the quarterback has time to sit there and evaluate where he wants to put the ball.
Yeah.
These NFL quarterbacks are way too good for him to miss plays like that.
Yeah.
So don't be too much on A.J. Terrell. Look, it happens to the best of them. Deion will tell you that. It happens to the best of them. The key is how is he going to come back next year?
Yeah, there was a lot of bright spots on the defense. Michael Walker played well. He almost had the game-ending interception.
Yeah.
Richie Grant seemed like he was playing well. Lorenzo Carter.
Yes.
I mean, guys that, like you said, are new starters. They really showed up yesterday. Right. They just couldn't close it out. So, what do you think they've got to do to handle these Rams?
I don't think they have to do anything differently. I think the only thing differently is when they go up in the game. Here it is. You will hear announcers. You will hear people talking about when a team gets up, they going into a 4-minute offense. There should never be such a thing as a 4-minute offense, because you don't have enough practice time to practice a 4-minute offense. Just continue to do what you've been doing. I always have this motto is this. It's your job to stop what I'm doing. It's not my job to stop myself.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to feel bad if we continue to move the ball and score points, because you're a professional too and you should stop me. I'm not going to say, hey, you know, look at the coach across there and says, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Take the foot off. I'm not going to blow you out whatsoever. No. Because here's the thing. When a coaching staff and a team get a chance to blow us out,
they're going to do it.
So we might as well do it too. So you got to keep playing football all the way through, and you may lose some friends over it.
Yeah.
So what? But it's football. You're trying to win football games, but you know, it's no hard feelings. You know, at the end of the day, it's a game. But you know, we had an opportunity to be number 1 in the division, and we blew it.
Yeah, I was definitely thought that it was going to be a blowout. I thought the Falcons were going to blow them out at the pace that we were going, 26-10. Mariota had the ball, and he said that he wasn't exactly aware the first down marker was, so that's why he thought he had to get the extra, and he didn't realize he already had it. But you know,
didn't I tell you last week when we talked? We were up 17 in the fourth quarter against the Saints, and I said this is over.
Yes.
And we end up winning or losing that game on the last second field goal. It's the same scenario.
Yeah.
These two teams, that's just the way it is. Now we'll go to New Orleans and probably return the favor and win it with a last second field goal. Even though we had a chance on a 63-yarder at the end.
Yeah.
But, you know, you got to keep that kick low to drive it. And we just, you know, he just couldn't get it off because it was just too much pressure up the middle.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, Falcon Nation. It really isn't. It's one game out of 17. So I think we've got a long way to go.
Well, we all had 24 hours to vent.
Yes,
we vented, let it go. Let's move on. Let's keep cheering this team on. We know that it's a young football team. We know that it's going to be some growing pains. We know it's a young, a first-time head coach in his second year. There's some growing pains there. Here's the thing that, don't take this the wrong way, when I say this, your head coach should not be fighting the media.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a distraction to the organization. Is a distraction to your team. They have to do their job.
Yeah.
Like you have to do your job. Let them do their job as they let you do your job. In this business, you're going to be asked tough questions. And in this business, you have the choice to answer them or not. Now, the way you answer them determines on the level of respect that you gain, not only from the media, but those who listening, which are the fans, and then also from your players. So, I'm not going to sit here and say, he shouldn't have, or, stop doing what you're doing. But here's the thing. I've said this weeks before. When you act that way, you better win a lot of football games because it will wear on people. And I've been here long enough. Yeah. They're going to run you out of town. Yeah. They'll run you out of town here.
And then that's the thing. You make a good point. Like everybody, the media has a job, and their job is to report so that way the fans can understand. Right. Without the fans, you wouldn't have a job. Exactly. You know what I mean? There wouldn't be nobody to watch the game. Right. And so the media has to cover that. Right. How he came across with the, everybody written us off, this, that, and the third, bury us. Now, a lot of that was national media as well. It wasn't just local media that necessarily did that. Right. And then I'm like, you've got to win. If you win, all this will go away. Well, you got to win.
Here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing. And I said this earlier to someone, and I said, what makes you go all the way back to May with what someone said? I don't remember what my wife said in May. Yeah. I don't even know if we argued or not in May. I don't know what we did in May because I moved on. Yeah. And
clearly he didn't.
You have to move on from that. For you to grow, you got to just brush it off, move on, and take it for what it is. They're going to ask questions, good or bad, dumb or whatever. But you have to answer it. Fighting with the media, you can't win because they're going to have the last word. And as long as I've been here, most of the media has been here longer than every football coach that I've been a part of and been around.
Whoa, let me bump the show. Let me slide up in here. I'm here because this was what I showed up at the right time. What's up, Terry?
What's up? We have Bob Whitfield in the house, as you see. Another Falcon. All right, as you saw, we were on location. We had a little technical difficulties, but we are back, and I've got Bob Whitfield here. And as you see, he stepped in, and he was just about to tell us what he thought about how Arthur Smith and the media interaction. What were you saying, Bob?
Well, one of the things is it's like fake news, is one of the things that doesn't happen in football because we have the tape. And head coach comes in and talks about the media has wrote the team's obituary way back during springtime, during OTAs. But what happens during that game and leading up to it, there was this thought of resurrection that was supposed to come from this team, from this franchise, even from the players within, that there's going to resurrect themselves against that negative thought process that they weren't going to be a great team or a worthy team. And in that game, they had opportunities in the second and third quarter to really, as an offensive unit, to put the nail in the coffin. Yeah. And it was the nail in the coffin of the Saints. So the idea is that the Undertaker didn't have your number called, head coach. It was you had the opportunity to put it on the team, the Saints, and basically seal their fate. Put the nail in the coffin with them and control the end of that game. So it's one of those things. Don't get mad about the fake news media who's talking truth, because what they saw on the field is a team that had many opportunities to put a team away, and they didn't.
And what do you think was the main catalyst for that loss yesterday?
I think squandered opportunities. When you look at not just fumble snaps, strip fumbles, with just squandered opportunities where the defense were playing good and giving you the ball back. but you have to score more than field goals.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Young Wei Koo because he did my fantasy team worthy with making those field goals. But for an offensive to be prolific, to be a powerhouse, you got to score touchdowns. And the Falcons had too many opportunities in that game to take control and put that team away with scoring touchdowns. And that's where you have to look at that team and say, you didn't prove anything with this first game. I never mind letting the Saints back in. It's more so you didn't shut them down. You didn't put it away.
So what do you think about our quarterback play and Mariota going forward?
I'm the one. I play with Michael Vick, so I'm saying it. I'm always said quarterback does not need to run the ball. So you had a good thing with Patterson running the ball, 122 yards, I think it was. Quarterback having 75. That ain't a good balance. I know your other running back, Williams, I believe, went down early. So what do you have? You running read action, run action, read draw action. I want to see Mariota be a quarterback because what I didn't see from him and during times where it's saying this is known passing situation. What's your efficiency in known passing situation? 3rd and 7, known passing situation where you need to get a first down. Yeah, we like that run action sizzle. I don't. Maybe fans do. I don't like it. So I want to see him be effective, throw the ball. He did try to control the game, I think, with his legs, but it came back to bite him when now after, 3/4 of big shots, now strips and fumbles happen.
And you played offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons. What did you think about the offensive line play yesterday?
So if there's any unit that's been maligned, it's been the O-line unit. They're the ones getting criticized, critiqued.
Yeah.
Talk about writing their obituary. They had 5 dudes with gravestones with their name on it. So they showed up to me. They played a solid game. I know they like to hone in on the running attack. So I think in the second half, they really needed to get more out of their runs and more commitment from the head coach to the run, not just run action, redraw action, but really honing in on some signature plays that you can say we can run slant action with our big running back and get 5 to 7 yards a carry. That's what they need to hone in on as a line unit where they know in any future opponents, if we get 4, 5, 6 yards a carry in the run, then we can take control of the game. I think they had opportunities, but as it got in the red zone, that O-line had to finish for that offensive unit, and they didn't score enough points.
And do you think the issue with them not naming a center until basically this week prior to the game, do you think that played a part in that botch snap fumble exchange between the center and Mariota?
No, I don't look at that. I think those guys played enough snaps with each other, mixing in different units, different, effectively working the room together. I wouldn't call that. I think the pressure in those scenarios where everything has to be perfect, where miscue happens, now you have to be perfect in handling the miscue. So it's one of those things like, hey, bobbled snap. But then what happened to, it bounces right into your hands and you continue on running and then you score. Yeah. It just wasn't that, scenario. So it's just like the things that happened to them earlier on, 3 points instead of 7, momentum swings, not taking advantage of it. Those are the things that I said you as a unit, as a team can pinpoint and you can go watch the film and say, this is when we could have took the life out of that opponent where they didn't fight as hard. But you let them hang around, just like the Saints and just like coming up with the Rams. You let a team hang around, you can get beat on any Sunday.
And back when we were at the cigar shop, you had spoke about the defense kind of doing their part and it was kind of left up to the offense. Can you tell us a little more about that and why you think that, the defense essentially did their job?
Yeah, because if you holding the team to 10 points with 3/4 out the game and you rattling Jameis Winston, you getting turnovers, you're doing all this stuff, you need the complement of the offense to stretch the lead. Mm-hmm. So for the work that the defense did to really keep the Saints under wraps for most of the game, if the offense scored a couple extra touchdowns, put a little extra stretch 16-point comeback would have had to been a 24, 28, 35-point comeback, and those don't happen.
Yeah, 100%. So I also asked you about this because the Falcons, like you said, they're going out to your home state of California next week to take on the Rams. What do they need to do to ensure they can maybe come out with a W or not to do?
Well, I tell you like this: stay away from the dispensaries. Don't go around. Don't no gummies, no CBD oils, no miracle leaves. No, no, no. All you need to do is focus because you got a good West Coast swing coming up with the Rams, Seattle. Focus in on the things that you did well in that running game, getting that big running back started. Focus in on that play action, throwing those deep crosses. Focus in on that stuff and really hone in on, as an offensive unit, what is your signature plays. And definitely downhill running is a signature play. Trapping, guards pulling is a signature play. Find your signature plays and make them unstoppable, because you're going to go against some of the best defensive players out there, best defensive corner, best defensive tackle, defensive end player, and Aaron Donald. So there's going to be mismatches along the front. So guys that are not against the best in the league, they got to show up this week in LA. So you got the advice. You know what it is. Only thing you can do for a little bit of fun, maybe go get you an In-N-Out burger, double cheeseburger, get you some grilled onions on it. It'll make you happy and make you play better. That's about it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you stopping back by, Bob, and giving me this time to finish up what we started. And hopefully these Falcons can pull it out this week.
Oh yeah, because we was getting in the nitty gritty, man. That technical glitch. I cleaned my answers up. I was really coming really hardcore, so I cleaned it up. But I think the fans would know, anybody that follow this team would know that there was enough good that the whole season ain't tanked, but there was enough bad to make you question what's in the tank.
And I'll leave it at that. Everyone, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Atlanta Sports Unlimited, and y'all have a great day. Thank you.